This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and good times here because this is a phone where you can buy 4 of these for the price of one Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. This is the OnePlus Nord N30 5G. Well, everything's 5G these days, even this $300 phone. So that's not bad. Android 13 on board with the usual Oxygen OS on top, which is actually a lovely overlay on top of Android. A 6.72-inch 120 hertz display, so big enough there, so some of the budget phones can go with a smaller screen. Some of you might want that bigger screen. Something that people under the age of 20 might not even remember in phones. This has a micro SD card slot for storage expansion. There's other goodies too. We're going to look at it now. So for $300 US, you might think, well, how much can you expect, right? And OnePlus is back to doing that whole flagship busting and even affordable phone busting thing instead of trying to go and pricing is at the high end. And I am so happy because we need more of that, don't we? There's always high-end phones to be had, not many affordable ones. We reviewed the Pixel 7a, which is Google's more affordable Pixel, and that one still has a list price of $499, call it $500. So this is significantly less. Samsung has their Galaxy A54, that's $450. The only one in the United States that's a new phone, I don't mean getting a deal because a phone is a year old and carry a discount or something like that. The only other one is the Moto G Power, which is priced the same as this, which does have more storage, but not as good a camera and certainly not as good battery life. Anyway, besides the fact we have the micro SD card slot here and a nice roomy display. It's an LCD though, it's not an OLED display, but it's good high resolution full HD plus display. We have the Snapdragon 695 5G, so that's a solid mid-ranger. And honestly, because OnePlus is known for optimizing their phones so well for performance, it doesn't feel mid-rangey at all. It feels very responsive. Now, if you're a hardcore mobile gamer playing Genshin Impact or some of the other more super demanding by phone standards games, you might want to be looking at something other than a budget phone, something with even stronger processor, though I had no problems playing games on this. You have 8 gigs of RAM, low-power DDR4X, and 128 gigs of UFS 2.2 storage. So solid on the performance. Like I said, you're not going to feel it. Something you might not expect on an affordable phone is a 5,000 milliamp battery. That is a high capacity battery here. And you get a charger in the box. Not only that, you get a 50-watt fast charger, OnePlus style there. So, swing, good times. This supports sub-6 5G, and it has lots of bands. You can see them on screen. So for those of you in the United States, yes, it's compatible with all the major US carriers. As to whether they're going to let phones that they don't sell onto their network, that's another thing. Ask your carrier about that. You can, of course, get this unlocked and use it with any carrier that you want, or see if your carrier is offering it directly as well. Another thing you might not expect to see on a budget phone is a high-end camera. You know, megapixels aren't everything. Sometimes you do see cheap phones with high megapixel counts, but this is a pretty decent Samsung sensor, the 108 megapixel camera on board with an f1.75 lens. The second lens is a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera to help improve portrait effects on board. So single camera on this. So obviously if you're looking at the Pixel 7a, you get a wide angle lens in addition. So more money does get you some stuff when it comes to that sort of thing, but it's a very competent camera. Now, it's not going to do super great at night mode. It's just okay. But during the day, it takes very nice shots. You might wish for more color saturation, but you can always adjust that in your app of choice. Sharpness is pretty good. Exposure, color balance, all that stuff. It pushes above its weight here. Now, you'll see there's a 3x option in the UI, and it basically, they call it lossless zoom, but what it's doing is because it has so many darn megapixels, it's essentially cropping in and pixel binning again to give you a pretty decent 3x. Anything beyond that, you can use the zoom slider when you're shooting photos or video, and it breaks down quickly, so I would suggest don't do that. By the way, it pixel bins that 108 megapixels down to a 12 megapixel usable photo, so you don't have something impossibly large to edit. There's a front 16 megapixel selfie camera, which is quite competent. Most phones these days do a good job with that, so no problem there. When it comes to video, pretty competent too. It's 1080p, that's the max there, and you've got slow motion and some other fun things that you can do with that, and vlogging mode, which means front and rear cameras simultaneously. Nice to have. It's pretty darn good, like I said, as long as you don't use digital zoom and go zooming in too much or expect a whole lot out of night mode. So for the price, It's nice. And of course the photos look pretty good on that display. Again, large, pretty high pixel density. Despite the fact it's an LCD, it doesn't look dull by any means. You have full P3 color gamut on board for this. And 550 nits of brightness, and it can peak at 680 nits on auto brightness, which meant when I took it out on a sunny day to take the photos that you saw, well, I could still see the screen. It has a headphone jack. You can't take that for granted these days. We have dual stereo speakers on board. We have Bluetooth 5.1, and we have Wi-Fi 5, not Wi-Fi 6, not Wi-Fi 6E. At this price, that's life, right? You do get NFC. You don't get any kind of IP rating, so no taking this in the bathtub with you, no taking it in the shower with you. Avoid dust storms if you're going to Dakar or something like that. So that's the OnePlus Nord N30 for 2023. They're an affordable phone. The only thing I will say, it comes in only one color. It's a very pretty phone. Let me tell you, the minute you look at it, you even think about touching it, it will get schmeary and icky and blah. But I know everybody uses a case, so small complaint there. You know now what you're giving up by spending less money. You get a single camera instead of multiple camera lenses on board. You don't get any water resistance, but you do get a capacious battery that lasted me a day and a half to 2 days on a charge. And most phones today, they last me a day. That's about it. You get a charger in the box, and it's a fast charger. You get a big, enjoyable display. You get a responsive phone. For this price, I'm really happy they did this. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.